Welcome to The Brain Plate, the podcast blending nutrition and psychology to help you thrive. Whether you're trying to improve your focus, reduce anxiety, or live a comprehensive holistic lifestyle, let's dig in.
Hello and welcome back to yet another topic, our first official real topic for this new rebrand of our podcast. And today we will be loosely discussing the brain gut connection, as this is a highly complex and highly intricate scientific topic. But today we're just going to bring to you kind of like a general overview. So if you've never heard this before, it should still be in words that you understand, but it will give you guys some overall detail into what this topic is. So we kind of want to just outline what it is, why it's important, and briefly touch on the purpose and what kind of connects with it and how it connects with your life, kind of. So, if you've ever gone or if you've ever kind of gone with the gut to make a decision or even felt butterflies in your stomach when nervous, you're likely getting signals from an unexpected source, and that is your second brain, aka your gut. It is hidden in the walls of the digestive system. And this brain in your gut, so to speak, is actually a kind of new research area, revolutionizing medicine's understanding of the links between digestion, mood, health, and even the way you think.
Yeah. And so, according to different researchers, but mostly the Johns Hopkins medicine, and if you're into medicine research at all, Johns Hopkins is pretty familiar or pretty popular of doing research. And scientists from Johns Hopkins medicine call this little brain where do I put the
Enteric nervous system.
enteric? Yeah. Because you can also pronounce it enteric, but that sounds weird, I guess. Enteric nervous system, the ENS, we call it the ENS, and it is not so little. The ENS has two thin layers of more than 100 million nerve cells that line your gastrointestinal dam. I am not very good with the medical words. I'll get better at it. But the gastrointestinal, is that how you say that?
Yeah, your GI tract.
Yeah, from your esophagus to your rectum. And then when we talk about the brain gut connection, we talk about how these are connected through different chemical and nerve pathways. And these pathways can affect mental health, your brain function, or your thinking, cognitive abilities. This also means that your digestion, so everything you eat and everything that is digested in your gut, can affect your brain, and that your brain can affect your digestion.
Yeah, so important parts of this connection include the nerves in your gut, the vagus nerve, which is the main nerve that links your brain and your digestive system, and also the bacteria, so the microbiome and microbiota of your gut. At a more fundamental level, the gut brain axis is bidirectional, meaning it kind of talks to each other in both ways. And these communication pathways are composed of the central, enteric, and autonomic nervous system. So to break that down, those are just different branches of your nervous system. Your brain and your spinal cord is your like main one, and then main central nervous system. And then your autonomic, enteric, and parasympathetic are, which is parasympathetic and enteric are the same. So these two different systems to your nervous system. So these two subsystems of your nervous system and the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis are these two most common pathways that they use for communication. So nervous system, endocrine system. So nervous system, hormones. That's what it breaks down to. Nerves, your nervous system, and your hormones are used to talk to your gut, to the brain, and your brain to the gut.
Yes. And there is a growing number also of research and association between studies that explore the gut's microbiota's possible role in memory, learning, anxiety, stress, and neurodevelopmental and neurodegenerative disorders, which is also why Leah at the beginning said it's complex. The whole system itself is complex, but what it can affect and the different associations that it has is even more complex. So today we're really trying to focus on just the basics to get a basic understanding of what is the purpose and what does it do, rather than going into all these different pathways of associations. Now, that is something that we might do in the future if you're interested, but for now, we're really just gonna stay at the tip of it where we're just exploring the basics.
Yes, like Mara said, and like I said earlier, it is complex. You cannot stress enough how complex it is. It's so complex that scientists who spend their entire or have spent their entire careers researching this, they're still not all the answers. So there's so
Yeah.
much to still learn from this. This is even infiltrating some of my own personal research throughout my PhD. So to kind of just like discuss the tippy toppy point, you might wonder why and how this connection evolved to be the way it is. So, on a very elementary level, our brains and digestive system evolved together to help us survive. Obviously, we have brains that send signals to tell us to sleep, to move, to think, to talk, to whatever you actually physically do on your day to day. Your brain is telling you what to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
In our digestive system, you eat. You have to eat to live. Nutrients is part of how we're living. So our brains and digestive system evolve together to help us survive. What we eat is crucial for our health, but it has changed slightly based on what is available. Like what people ate in the olden days is not what we eat today. They didn't have any McDonald's to go eat, or they didn't have any
Damn.
fast foods to go to, and we are realizing now how important that societal change in diet has impacted our health in all areas.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily the best change, I think, because our bodies weren't meant to kind of get those nutrients or eat those things. Like, we were meant to eat more natural things.
Yeah. So definitely there's plenty of good and bad information out on the internet about food and nutrients. And obviously, as our podcast develops, we will get into those. But regarding the gut brain or brain gut axis, we have our brain and our gut stay connected to make sure we have the right nutrients. So if we eat something harmful, it goes into our fight or flight kind of reactions. If we eat something harmful, you're going to get that feeling in your stomach or in your digestive system, and you're gonna vomit. It's gonna make you feel bad. It's gonna make you feel achy. It's gonna make you feel tired, dizzy, etc. The
Or you're
same
gonna have
thing.
to shits for a couple days.
Yes. The same thing is if you're going through any kind of trauma, distress, any kind of bad reaction, that also influences your gut. Same with happy emotions, it influences your gut. So
Yeah.
again, those hormone relations, whether it's emotional hormones or reproductive hormones, etc., all hormones are going to influence your gut and your brain.
Yeah. Sorry. Did you want to continue? Okay. Um, so basically, what that means is that your body has created a sort of warning system within itself. Another example is if you hurt yourself, like let's say you're cooking and you touch the pan because it's on the heat, you feel that it hurts. Your brain helps you remember this pain so you can avoid doing that in the future. So then you know next time you're cooking, like, oh, I shouldn't touch the pan when it's on the heat because it hurts. The same process kind of happens with digestion. Your emotions can make gut discomfort feel worse. So I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, this would mean that when you ate something and you feel stressed, you might feel nauseous. Would that be that same kind of warning system we're talking about?
Yeah, it definitely so like yeah, in a way, it's still different. There is no like real good example to use as like a metaphor type for this, but yeah, definitely whatever is chemically going on in your brain, whatever emotions that you are feeling, whatever hormones are being secreted to make you feel a certain way does have a direct positive or negative influence on digestion and gut and vice versa. So things that you eat, whether it's good or bad, will have that good or bad respectively influence onto your emotions.
Yeah, I mean, certain products could release also certain dopamines, I think.
Yeah, that goes into like the whole reason of like sugar releases like the same hormone as any other addictive illegal substance use. So therefore, like if these illegal substances are illegal, why is sugar not illegal? Again, that's a very out there kind of topic,
Yeah.
but there are instances in that there are nutrients that will positively and negatively influence those chemical and hormonal relationships and functions within your brain and gut. So, on a more kind of scientific description, the brain gut axis role is to monitor and integrate your gut functions as well as to link emotional and cognitive centers of the brain with peripheral intestinal functions and mechanisms such as autoimmune activation, intestinal permeability, enteric reflex, and enteroendocrine signaling.
Yeah, and I think you kind of need to translate that in normal English. Like,
Yes.
what did you just say?
Yeah. So essentially, all of that means that your gut brain axis or your brain gut axis monitors and integrates or how it integrates again those hormones and different other molecules in your body. They use those to link your emotional and cognitive centers. So you have centers in your brain that are designed to handle emotional reactions and cognitive function, so it links those areas with your intestinal function, and that link influences your immune activation, your intestinal permeability, which is just fancy words for saying absorption of nutrients through your
Hmm.
intestines. Your enteric reflex. So again, that was more what Marit was talking about in regards to internal reflexes in your body that give you like warning kind of signals, and then your enteroendocrine signaling, which is just your peripheral hormonal signals. That's all those fancy words mean. Entero again is just another word for the parasympathetic nervous system, which is kind of your rest and digest
Hmm.
system, nervous system. So when that is activated, you are like more in a calm state. All your bodily functions focuses on that digestion. So when that signaling is high, you are resting and digesting, so to speak. When that's interrupted, your ability to digest decreases, and that's what leads to uncomfortness, pain, bloating.
Okay. Thank you for simplifying that in more digestible terms to keep a little wordplay in it. We do add all our references in the description of our podcast. So if you're wondering where this information is coming from, Leah is very smart, but she also uses some articles to back her information, just so you guys have something to look at
And
too.
it's very important whether you are a science nerd like me and I guess Marit, but I feel like I'm more of a science nerd than Marit.
Yeah,
Whether
differently.
Yeah, like whether you're a science nerd or not, just reading articles and reading the tradition, like the original research, and
Yeah.
forming your own opinions outside of what either social media says or news outlet
Yeah.
says, because things can get disinformed very easily or misinformed very easily.
I am more of the science nerd when it comes to the psychology topics. That's more my comfort zone, but I do enjoy also learning about these types of things.
Yeah.
But to continue about this gut brain axis, there are more body functions that it may affect, such as hunger and satiety, which is the feeling of fullness and satisfaction after eating. Also, food preferences and cravings, food sensitivities and intolerances, gut motility or muscle movements, digestion, metabolism, your mood, behavior, stress levels, pain sensitivity, cognitive function, and immunity. So, that is also a little summary of what Leah just said with her fancy scientific words. Just a list of some body functions that are related to this connection of the gut and brain. But as we mentioned, it is much more complex than what we're just telling you guys now. So if you are interested, either let us know or do some research yourself, because we are definitely not taking a deep dive today into everything that's known about this axis.
Yeah, definitely. I think the main thing to understand is that the gut, your digestive tract, it's like your gut. When we say gut, it's everything revolving around your digestive tract and your digestive system. So that starts with mouth, go down your esophagus, which is just a pipe that you swallow through that leads to your stomach. Your stomach goes into your intestines, and then obviously out. It used to be kind of thought way back in the day, like no one really fully understood the importance of your digestion tract, and they knew that it was complicated. They knew kind of how food obviously got digested and absorbed, but it's only been in the more recent years that there is this better understanding of how your digestive tract and your brain are interconnected, and that has a lot to do with the influence and interest into your gut microbiome. So the little tiny healthy bacteria in your intestines that break down that food is understanding their role, because ultimately that's part of that is the largest influence into the gut side of the gut brain axis. And since research has gone into these microbiome and microbiota of the intestines, we are realizing that they have a direct impact into this whole list of stuff that Mara just read off to you.
Yeah.
And scientists don't even have the answers to all of this yet. Like that's how complex it is.
Yeah, like I think they can see, okay, it has to do something with stress level or immunity or cognitive function, but how it then affects those processes, it's still kind of unsure on like how does it affect it?
Yeah, for sure. And there's some that they definitely know more in than others.
Yeah.
And as the research has gone on, like they're starting to put pieces to the puzzle together. But again, this just calls for the generalization of what you eat and how you take care of yourself matters.
Yeah, so I guess a diet where you wake up and you drink a Pepsi for breakfast with a bagel and then have some candy strips for lunch and some Chick-fil-A for dinner, that's not something that would, positively affect your health or brain.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so much to unpack in that example, but as a whole, what you eat, like if you're someone who's, as Mart said, going to get fast food all the time, or relying on sugar highs to get through the day, or whatever it might be, yeah, that can directly impact not only your digestion but also your the functioning of your brain.
As a challenge, usually we kind of do challenges at the end of an episode, but since we're kind of talking about it now, try to avoid sugar as much as you can for a week and see the difference. I think you'll find a very clear difference between how you're feeling, how you're going through a day.
I also want to clarify the sugar. It's not all sugar, processed sugar. Like the sugar that comes naturally in fruits and like agave and stuff like that, that is healthy. Dates, very healthy. But the processed sugar, the candy sugar,
Yeah,
the heavy, the heavy kind of like addictive type sugar, like
like
cut that
the
out.
coffee
Really cut that.
syrups.
Yeah, it's so hard because like the nutrition world is ever changing and there's like a lot of blatant statements that you're like, wait, if you unpack that, you'll talk yourself backwards and out of that statement. But yeah, definitely as Mara said, like even if you spend a week and just eat more whole foods,
Yeah.
and and I like to say not necessarily cut out sugar but cut out processed foods, you're gonna
Yeah.
feel drastically.
Um, I was definitely aiming more at the processed sugar, but you also, it's not smart to eat 5 oranges because then it also spikes a lot, with the
Yeah, but there's
levels.
nothing necessarily wrong with the spike from an orange because oranges have other nutrients, so micronutrients and fiber in it that actually levels it out more than what if you were to consume like 35 jelly beans.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you decide, like, should I eat a handful of jelly beans or an orange? Go for that orange because
Yeah,
it'll make you feel probably better.
yeah, definitely.
So, now that we're talking about this, like, what can we do to nurture this gut brain connection? The best way you can take care of your gut health on a day to day basis, and maybe your brain health, because it's a connection, is by maintaining this balanced diet, healthy balanced diet. You can also take care of your brain health and maybe through it your gut health by doing what you can to manage stress. And now, stress isn't the only thing or the only factor, um, but there are, stress is just, it's toxic, I guess, especially having too much stress. It's not necessarily good for you. Finding ways to lower your stress levels over a period of time might be beneficial for you.
Yeah, for sure. Stress adds a whole different component to your life. We know that chronic stress is very negative for overall health. To the degree it's still unknown, but like adding that into it, it just adds
Yeah.
to the complexity of what we're talking about.
Yes. It'll just become more complex.
Yeah. Uh, but some ways, which I'm gonna briefly as I can, give you guys some suggestions on types of foods that you should eat. Again, everyone is different and everyone's lifestyle is different and everyone's personal needs are different. So again, take this as what it is, are just some suggestions. But definitely a diverse diet leads to healthier gut microbiome, which again is just those little bacterias in your gut that promote correct nutrient digestion and absorption, which can lead to better overall health, as Mart mentioned in that long list of things that it is connected to. The best way to do this and to integrate this is through whole foods, because whole foods are going to provide you with more nutrient dense intake. So basically, that means whole foods contain a more dense amount, a higher amount of these nutrients, macro and micronutrients needed to support overall health. And in the process of doing that, you will be like avoiding processed foods or harmful additives or any kind of unhealthy shelf stable ingredient that has been added to a variety of foods.
Yeah.
Some main things to like think about would be prebiotics and probiotics. Again, we're not going to dive into that too much. Prebiotic is things like fiber that can be found in like fermented foods or vegetables or anything, fruits or anything like that, that help feed the probiotics, those bacteria in your intestines that are breaking down your nutrients. So, eating high fiber, eating foods like yogurt, Greek yogurt, the Icelandic yogurt's really good for you. And again, the vegetables, the whole foods of those. Again, fruits and vegetables also have antioxidants, which help fight and reduce free radicals, which in return will reduce overall body inflammation.
Tomatoes are very high in antioxidants.
Yes, there's a ton of things.
Yeah.
Cranberries are huge in antioxidants. Tart cherries are huge in antioxidants.
I just always
Um,
remember the tomatoes.
anything that is red, green, orange, yellow, anything that has color is high
Yeah.
in micronutrients.
Natural color.
Yeah, yeah. But like anything that's high in those particular colors, any natural whole food high in those colors come with high amounts of antioxidants, appropriate micronutrients, and appropriate macronutrients.
I think you kind of summed it up well and what we should be eating to strive for that healthy gut brain axis. As we mentioned, this was literally just a tip of the iceberg. There is so much more going into this, but we felt like just giving you an overall overview of the topic would be good for now. However, if you are interested in a deeper dive of this topic, let us know. There is a lot more research that takes a deeper dive into this topic related to certain mental disorder or diseases. For example, depression, also Alzheimer's. I've seen some things on that.
It's anxiety, any kind, basically any sort of digestive issue and mental health issue has been linked to this gut brain axis.
Yeah, so there are definitely different routes we can take with this topic, but for now, we just wanted to give you a little quick insight on what it is. So, yeah, we want to thank you, and we'll see you guys later.
That's it for today's episode of The Brain Plate. Remember, small changes lead to big impact. Keep feeding your body and mind with intention. See you next time.